NFL draft grades are out. How did the Carolina Panthers stack up? Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, and scouts make comments about their draft picks. We're going to figure out what we can learn about that. And rumors on who the Carolina Panthers could still sign that can make this team better going into 2026. It's the C3 Panthers podcast. Stick around.
Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers podcast.
What is up, Panther fans? You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. That means it's 9 o'clock on Tuesday night. We're chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We may not be football experts, but we are expert football fans. And tonight we're going to be talking about the NFL draft. How did Carolina come out? We'll look around the league to see where I guess all the draft grades are coming out. And I got to say, some of them are looking pretty good out there. We've got insight from Dave Canales, Dan Morgan, and scouts on how these players, why they selected these players, who we're getting on the team. And I just saw Jonathan Brooks and the guys are filing into the building for official team activities. Jonathan Brooks and Princely got baptized this weekend, and Chuba and their relationship seems like this team is ready to hit the ground running. It's Tuesday night. I'm here with my wheelman, Cody. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, our very own Dan Morgan, cannot be stopped. He has an incredible free agency period, upgrades this team tremendously, and then goes and produces one of the best value drafts in the history of the Carolina Panthers. Tony, we didn't even have a ton of holes that needed to be filled, and yet we filled every single one of them. Man, I am absolutely pumped. I'm here with my favorite dudes, Tony Dunn and CK Codizzle Allen, and you know that we're going to do this with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You know them and love them. It's John B. Jenkins. Go Fish, baby. Rock Rhyme. VR the Hope Dealer. What's up, brother? Happy birthday, man. I heard that it's your birthday, going on a trip. Congrats, man. And we got Izzy Did That in the building. Tony Dunn. We have a fantastic show tonight, breaking down the draft and everything that happened over the past weekend. It's a Tuesday night, bro. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Do us a solid, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. Consider becoming a C3 super fan to help the lights stay on around town. And check us out on iTunes and Spotify for the audio podcast. Make sure you give us a rating and help us grow out there. Special thanks to Nick Montero for driving across the country, it feels like, to come hang out and help his buddy, me, and hang out with me for the weekend. Glad he made it home safe. CK in the house. Good to see you again, my friend.
Well, I'm glad to be here. We actually... the thing I don't like about this draft is I don't know if it's good. It's a good draft or not. I can only base it off of what other people say about these players, and quite honestly, it feels like we are touted as one of the better drafts of the league. Now, it always seems that somebody in the NFC South also is considered to have a really good draft, and I do think that ended up happening this year as well. So we'll see, what you guys think in the coming weeks as we talk about those other teams. But man, it's good to be a Panthers fan, especially when you have such glowing reviews about our organization as a whole. It's just it's a good time to be a Panthers fan. when there's been so much bad things to be Panthers, bad feelings of being Panthers fans of the recent past. So,
speaking of that, I saw Chuba Hubbard in his press conference talk about how nice it felt to help change the narrative of that feeling last year, and by making the playoffs, but really they felt that their team was taking such a great step forward. And he said that the excitement among Panther fans and in Charlotte, and just that attitude, that change was palpable. So, man, the players are excited about it as well. And let's go ahead and jump into tonight's show. Dan Morgan dominated the NFL draft for the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers completed the 2026 NFL draft. We're about to go through the picks overall. I saw to CK's comment that some of the other NFC teams had some real good grades too. So Cody,
yeah, man.
Dan Morgan addresses the media on the draft, and he says, "We feel good about what we accomplished during the draft and excited about things moving forward. Obviously headed in the right direction." You were on the ground watching the draft. I saw you guys on day 2. We were digging trenches and recovering at that point. I dug a 35-foot 18-inch trench by hand this week on Friday. It was a bear, a monster. But Carolina, you said they didn't have a lot of holes. I don't know if they didn't have a lot of holes. I mean, is that they've had less immediate needs than in the past, but they've had some needs, and it felt like they really strategically targeted all of those except for one in tight end.
Yeah, well, and look, you just have to take this draft for what it is, right? As a consensus, a lot of other teams did a lot of reaching, meaning that they were reaching deeper into the draft and picking players earlier that could have been had later in the draft. So you see right here, for example, this is average reach percentage rounds 1 through 6, and the bottom is average reach. You see the Jacksonville Jaguars down there at the bottom. They did nothing but reach for players that were consensus graded lower in the draft. But boys, look at the very tippy tip top of this mountain. I'll be damned if that isn't the Carolina Panthers up there getting tremendous value for every single pick that we made. Meaning when the Panthers picked, we drafted a player that was supposed to statistically be drafted even earlier than where he was selected. This means that throughout this entire draft, the Panthers got the most bang for their buck out of essentially any team in the NFL. Dan Morgan has a plan. He executed it to perfection the entirety of this offseason, and we're seeing just now how it's really finally starting to pay real dividends for the Carolina Panthers.
What do you think made this value where it was headed? I mean, I know that Freeling was considered a head of schedule player, right? A little bit. CK, when we were talking before the show, that felt like the team almost didn't think that he would be there in a sense, potentially. You also had, I think, the second round pick, the defensive tackle. He was, I think you got some value there. It required a trade up. A lot of people said that that was a value pick. Where do you think that the players are not reaching? Do you think it was that day 3 movement, maybe?
I mean, I personally think that that the value comes from a few of these guys, being considered to be a bit of a higher pick than they were taken at. So the center being picked in what was it, round 5?
Round. Yeah.
That's I feel like that's a good position, a place that you're going to pick a center that could very well be a performing. Do we expect him to come in and be like immediately the guy? I don't know, but I mean, it's
wait till you hear about him.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a competition at center this year,
which I am ecstatic about if that is in fact true.
Yeah,
I think we that's good news if that is something that we can truly expect to actually take place. But I think we really got a lot of the pieces that we would have said we wanted to get out of this draft. Coming into this year, this offseason.
Holy cow! Look at this graphic.
Yeah, I know, right? So, listen, I wanted to give a shout out to Rand Brunger on Twitter, because he did an entire compilation and averaged out the numbers of all the different publications and their draft grade for every single team. So you have NFL.com, CBS Sports, Sporting News, Cleveland.com, AP NFL, all these different publications. And for the most part, if you can see, the Carolina Panthers graded out as A- or A+. Now you see a lot of B's sprinkled in there. The lowest grade that the Panthers got was a C- from Sports Illustrated and New York Post. We got a C from CBS Sports. But literally every other publication out there had the Carolina Panthers with an A or a B draft, essentially. So, this is not just us fans saying how great this draft is because we're biased and we're being a bunch of homers. This is one of the better drafts in recent memory, at least until we see them play and see what they can actually do. This is easily one of the best drafts that the Carolina Panthers have had in a very long time. And I love how Dan Morgan, in year 3, you continue to see that steady progression and that there is a method to the madness in how he is choosing to build this football team.
CK, I'm going to ask you for a quick, short answer, immediate reaction answer,
okay.
And then I'll ask Cody. What was your reaction to Lee Hunter, defensive tackle at 49, round 2 pick?
It's perfectly fine with it.
Was it surprising in the moment at all, or was it?
No. I think I think one of the things we talked about going into this offseason is that it would be nice to have a running mate for Derek Brown. So I think that's a fantastic decision.
Cody, your initial reaction to day 2, first pick 49, Lee Hunter for Texas Tech?
I was not at all surprised when we picked him because he went to the Senior Bowl and was absolutely dominant in practices to the point that he didn't even play in the game. Most people had thought that he had played his way into a first-round draft grade. So when the Carolina Panthers traded up for him, I sort of figured that would be the name picked because Caden McDonald, the defensive tackle from Ohio State, had gone just a few picks earlier than that. So pretty much if we wanted another defensive tackle, he was the guy. And, Dan Morgan decided that he was worth moving up to get. So he navigated this board absolutely masterfully. We came in with 7 picks, and yet we still finished with 7 picks because we traded back a bunch in later rounds to pick up our corner and wide receiver and the safety that we picked. So, dude, Dan Morgan did an incredible job.
What were your thoughts on actually, let's go through this draft grade real quick. Go back to that real quick, and let's see if we can blow it up.
This is from Pro Football. Oh, you mean the other one?
Yeah, or okay, Pro Football. I was kind of interested in what the division did, what they are. Atlanta Falcons, I can see them. They got a lot of C's. They got more C's, 1 D. When Nick and I were hanging out on Saturday this weekend, we were just kind of looking at the recaps and how the reactions were, and I felt like there was a lot of positivity, not around the Carolina Panthers alone.
Is this easier? I don't know if this.
No, I think the last one's better.
Okay, I'll pull it.
But there was, obviously we're getting good reviews from what we were hearing with the Panthers, but Nick was looking around at the other teams. And it seemed like both a large consensus of good things being said about New Orleans and Tampa as well.
Yeah, so even on this chart right here, the Panthers are ranked 9th and Tampa Bay is tied for 5th with the Cowboys. Wow. Yeah, the lowest grade that they got was a B- from Mel Kiper at ESPN. They took 2 Miami players. And another thing, Tony, is that their first overall pick was Ruben Bain.
Yeah.
And, if you had followed the drama, a lot of people had him as the best edge rusher in this draft class, even over David Bailey, who went number 2 overall to the Jets. But similar to Brady Christensen, he has a case of the T-Rex arms. So that sort of had him push down the draft, but he was pissed off. A lot of the draft prospects, they stop in front of the mirror and they put their draft hat on and they sort of pose and show off. He didn't do none of that shit. He went out, grabbed his hat, went out and shook Roger Goodell's hand, and he has
went to work.
He went to work. He has a chip on his shoulder. The last time that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafted a Miami player was Warren Sapp.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people are really excited about that. But doesn't it make it all the more prudent that the first pick for the Carolina Panthers was a big, strong, dynamic left tackle?
Yeah.
Like, that's perfect in that situation.
Saints got good reviews. It looks like they're averaged here at 14 on this list. All right. Where are we heading next, Cody?
Yeah. The Saints did a lot of building around Tyler Shuck. They got Jordan Tyson. Then drafted another defensive tackle. They got another tight end out of Georgia who we previewed last Tuesday, named Oscar Delp. They are all in on Tyler Shuck and trying to build around him right now. Tony, did you have any clips that you wanted to play from any of the scouts? Yeah,
and I might sprinkle the clips in. Let's go ahead and I'll sprinkle the clips in as we're talking about each draft pick. You got some on everybody. We got a lot of picks, but
let's do it.
This was pretty neat that the Panthers got the area scouts out there for press conferences to talk about this. The Panthers, a lot of availability over this draft. They've talked Dan Morgan, and then we've addressed the media, I think, twice, maybe 3. You had the scouts, a lot of player stuff, and a lot of player stuff as the team is there for OTA, is getting ready for OTA, or the first part of this short OTA time. All right. Monroe Freeling, first round draft pick. We're going in order right here.
Yes, sir. Monroe Freeling.
Big boy right here. Monroe here is 6'7", almost. Yeah, he's about 6'7". He's 315 pounds. The dancing bear, big hands. Here's my I'll have you guys tell me what's your thoughts on this pick and what it does for the team, and then I'll pull up this clip from.
Well, Tony, listen. So much of this conversation revolved around Ikem Ekwonu and that injury that he took against the Rams in the playoffs. And when Ikem Ekwonu was drafted, he was drafted to be the blindside left tackle of the future for the Carolina Panthers. But if you remember the narrative around him when he was drafted, is that Icky was better in run blocking than he was in pass protection. Well, boys, I'm here to tell you, we drafted a tall, long, arm-having son of a bitch who by far his best skill set is in pass protection. Georgia left tackle Monroe Freeling played 891 snaps in 2025 and allowed only 2 sacks and 8 quarterback pressures. Freeling ranked 3rd amongst SEC offensive tackles in pass blocking grade. His combine results, and listen, I want to really drive this home. This is a freakish, athletic, big man, Tony. It's a big man, CK. His 40-yard dash at 315 pounds was a 4.93. Whenever you have an offensive lineman running a sub-5.0 40-yard dash, that's how you know that they are a freak athlete. He was a former basketball player, 1.27 10-yard split. That was 2nd out of all the combine participants. His 40-yard dash was 3rd of all combine participants. A vertical jump of 33.5 which was third amongst all offensive linemen, and a broad jump of 9.7. Tony, we've talked about this a little bit before. Their relative athletic score. I mean, dude, that's green lights are go, baby. The only thing that isn't in the green level tier is his weight. He's only 315 pounds, but he has enough frame to put on some more weight once he gets into an NFL strength and conditioning system. And just to top it all off, just to continue to ram the point home that this is a pass protecting offensive lineman. Georgia Monroe Freeling was a 1.8 pressure rate allowed in 2025. That was, the best in the SEC essentially. So the Panthers are stoked to have him. I think the fans should be as well. Tony, I'm pumped for the pick in general.
Here's Corey Fuller, regional scout for the Carolina Panthers, the Southeast, talking about just that natural athleticism.
The main guy for me was Monroe. I mean, it's hard not to see what stood out. Just, the size, the athleticism, play strength, the intelligence, just great human being overall.
All right, you guys could hear that, right? Last week we had a bunch of issues here.
No, not at all.
And let me see if I could. I'm not going to try to bounce around. I got it clipped already. Here is the other thing is here is Corey Fuller on Monroe not being a. Oh, why didn't it go to the right spot? Yeah, come on. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to skip that one. We'll just go ahead. Is two things that stood out to the area scout this component of Corey Fuller talking about it. He talked about that. It's pretty obvious, like, why you like this guy. You look at that RAS score, you look at his size. He referenced him playing in the SEC at Georgia against top competition. His progression as a player, while a lot of people have referenced that he only had, I think, a total of 17 starts. He, his sophomore year, he started playing swing tackle, and his junior year, he was the starting tackle and had that success that Cody had listed out with, only allowing 2 sacks. But Fuller comes back. You were talking about the weight, as in, like, oh, is this the thing? The only thing. He said, look, he's 21 years old. This guy's just becoming a man.
Yeah,
he's going to get bigger and stronger. But when he gets those big hands on you, you ain't getting. He's got you. So he was very impressed by that. And also, final reference to that was Kirby Smart, head coach for the Georgia Bulldogs, said that this guy could be a 10 to 15-year starting tackle in the league because he can play both sides.
Yeah, I mean, he really can. It really gives us a bunch of position flexibility because, right now, what's the left tackle that we signed? Rasheed Walker.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Rasheed Walker. So, I think for all intents and purposes, he'll probably start at left tackle this year. But I'm going to be real. I could easily see this being a real competition going into training camp. Dave Canales essentially said as much. And I would not be surprised if you saw Monroe Freeling being our starting left tackle, if not by the first game of the season, at least sometime by mid-season. He could very well end up being on the line. Taylor Moton, he did a press conference today as well, and he sort of put to bed the rumors that he was looking to retire soon. But
yeah, he's talking about playing 10 more years.
I know, but even if he had retired at the end of this year or was traded or moved on, Monroe does have position versatility to be able to play right tackle as well. But Tony, you and I have talked about so many times, the importance of building a wall around your franchise quarterback. And Dan Morgan decided that it was such a priority that we were going to use a first-round pick to do it. And he was of value because Many people had him being selected within the top 15. Some people had him going to the Los Angeles Rams. The Browns could have picked him up. There were teams that were interested in Monroe Freeling, and yet he is a Carolina Panther with the 19th overall pick.
Yeah, I was really excited about this. I thought this was the right option for the Carolina Panthers, and continuing to build that out. All right, who do we got next?
All right. Now we go on to Texas Tech because we drafted the Fridge Boys. His name is Lee Hunter. He is a defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. And Tony, last Tuesday, we talked a little bit about Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker out of Texas Tech. Well, part of the reason why he was so successful was because of this man right here. Lee Hunter is an absolute unit. He is a people mover. Amongst defensive tackles since 2023, he has 146 tackles. That's the first amongst all defensive tackles. 38 tackles for loss or no gain. That's first amongst defensive tackles. 81 run stops, first, and 25 quarterback pressures. Second in all of FBS. So, boys, it's important to look forward. We have Bobby Brown on this roster, who could still end up being the nose guard for the Panthers. But now that you add Lee Hunter and envision putting him next to Derek Brown, who are you going to double team? Both of these dudes are meant to eat up double teams. And now because we have a true nose tackle, I'm excited about the opportunity of what this could do for Derek Brown and our defensive line going forward.
Yeah, I think that CK, I've always said, you cycle in every 3 years in the top first, the early rounds. You have to be making a defensive front and an offensive line pick. And this year, the Carolina Panthers kind of checked both of those boxes. Offensive tackle in round 1, defensive tackle in round 2, and then that gives them a year, or next year they maybe can do one or none, or maybe 2 years from now they're back in the top end looking to continually to build those trenches. It seems like all the teams that have had a lot of success in this league always find a way to have an offensive line and a defensive line that continue to dominate.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the things this is one of the more exciting picks, in my opinion. You got a guy that I think is going to, fingers crossed, is going to free up Derek Brown, or maybe those guys just wreak havoc up the center. And we got the run game. I mean, this is where he really excels, from what I was, reading up on, is stopping the run. But being there next to Derek Brown, I think, is a huge, huge, huge deal. And again, I mean, from what it looks like, or from the sounds of things, the fact that we got him where we did is it's a win. It's a great value. And I think it wasn't a sexy draft, but it was a necessary draft for the team to continue to move in the right direction. We didn't need sexy anymore.
This is sexy to me. I guess is like, to me, this is a sexy draft. I know, but I know what you're saying. And that's how I described it to other people is not, you're not getting these players that, so like, I guess are household names all the time. Right. Is like when you pick an offensive lineman, when you pick a defensive tackle, when you pick a center, and those are the guys that we're out here stumping for. And like the less exciting players who are very exciting, in more of a skill position, but this shows you. I mean, I think I guess it depends on the fan, but I'm sitting here. It's kind of like your taste in whatever it may be, food, women, whatever it is. It all varies, and it turns out to me this was a sexy draft. Here is the front office talking about why they traded up for Lee.
Sure. What made you guys trade up a couple of picks to get Lee?
The board was kind of thinning out at the time. We just felt like, hey, like this is like the last guy that we kind of had a little in the higher rounds, and we just felt like, hey, let's go get our guy instead of kind of settling for somebody else. we're like, let's go get our guy. We were all convicted on him, not only as a player, but as a person.
Do you see him as being a nose that can kind of complement a rotation of Turk and Bobby, or how do you guys view him from a style standpoint?
Yeah, let's get him in here and see what he can do, just in our schemes. And that part will make a lot of sense for us. But when you're an interior defensive lineman, it all starts with violence. And that's one thing that he kind of characterized himself. What's your play style? Violence, and repeatedly said violence, just the way that he's disruptive and explosive at the line of scrimmage. And then we'll figure out the pieces from there. But we have a really good group in there, versatile guys that we can use in different ways.
This is a little bit different of a group where or position on the defensive front. It's one thing is these poor offensive linemen have to play with continuity and play every snap. But was it the Rams? I think the Rams had a bunch of is either Ram or the Seahawks. The Seahawks, that's what it was, is that they just kept churning in guys that were starters that were not that were playing, coming in fresh, playing not only certain situations, but just giving them fresh legs. And it's just giving these offensive lines a fit, is that while he might not take a starting job right away, they're real. I mean, they looked, a lot of the measurables and comparables and play style were to Derek Brown that I saw.
Yeah. No, they were. Hey, we love Brian Baldinger's clips. Would you like to see one that he made about our very own Lee Hunter?
Let's go.
Let's watch Lee Hunter go about his business here. He's the zero technique, the nose tackle. And he's going to get his bucket lifted right off him right here. And it's not going to stop him. The helmet's off.
Oh, God.
What it's going to do, it's the most important thing with or without your helmet. It's just the most important thing. Lee Hunter is on a mission. He'll get the helmet. He'll get it later. Yeah. They threw the flag. Let's watch Lee Hunter.
So imagine, dude, this guy is a football player. Okay, he is a dog that Dan Morgan talked about bringing to this team in his introductory press conference those few years ago now. I mean, this guy has no concern for his own health and safety when he's on the field. He even put his head down. He did not care if he went head to helmet with another player. This dude is incredibly strong. He is built like an absolute tank. Some of his stats right here. He's an Iron Man. And in 3 straight seasons, he has played over 500 snaps. That's insane. The dude has genuine bull rush power. He plays with a violent nature. He has great effort. This one right here, I found to be very impressive. 17.5% win rate on true pass sets, and an 11.9 stop rate is amongst the highest in the draft class. Remember what was it like 2 seasons ago? We gave up the most rushing yards in NFL history or something like that. That is looking to be a thing of the past when you factor in Lee Hunter and Derek Brown. To me, this is more in line with our first pick in round 1. We are building the trenches. And not to use another Gettleman-ism, Tony, but Dave Gettleman once said, big men allow you to win football games. And that is Dan Morgan showing you this in practice.
He would have called him a hog molly. CK, what player was it? I think we were trying to rationalize how at the end of the season that the Carolina Panthers defense had gotten better pressure maybe. Was it Nick Scorton that we kind of highlighted as a 19% win rate or something?
Nick Scorton had a high win rate, and I can't remember if it was
19, and we were putting him up there with if you looked at guys, he was had the same percentage win rate of who's the defensive end in Cleveland. I mean, it was just some big names that they were throwing around as that's how those guys win. So that number 17.5 win rate. And I guess that's past sets. On past sets, that's like an elite number for that position. You know, so that's effective to see. And knock on wood, but is you want these guys to be available. You want to talk about an Ironman, Moten, who said he's going to play 10 more years. I mean, we could use another Ironman and right beside Derek Brown. So very excited about that pick. What we got next?
Well, hey, real quick, do you mind if I play? I just remembered this. I saved this. I have a 44-second hype clip for Monroe Freeling. You want to play that real quick? Because I think it also defines exactly why we liked him so much.
Shut down whoever's across from him. I mean, the ceiling with him is undefined as of yet.
Stockton hands it off. Room for Frazier.
Look at him get upfield. Just effortless.
Good set lines in pass pro. He can move. He uses his hands. A lot of times guys will have that length and they play small. He doesn't.
Never stop chopping, man! Come on!
He's a first-round draft pick. I'm excited to get him in the room. I'm sure he'll fit in great with the guys that we got, and look forward to everybody getting out there and competing.
So we have some real premier players amongst the offensive line and defensive line, and it feels so good to see, man. This is how the Seattle Seahawks won their Super Bowl last year. It's the truth. You need these types of players to be a continuously dominant NFL team.
Yeah, that's good news. Moving on to, are we at the third round?
Yes, sir. Chris Brazzell, wide receiver. Chris Brazzell, wide receiver. Brazzell Dazzle, baby, out of Tennessee. 84.8 yards per game. The SEC's leading receiver, and 9 touchdowns, which was also the SEC's leader in receiving touchdowns. He had 1,017 yards his final year. And Tony, CK, we have put the Monstars around Bryce Young as a receiving core. Between Xavier Legette, 6'3", T-Mac, 6'5", and now 6'4", Chris Brazzell runs a 4.37 40-yard dash. I mean, the dude is just incredible. 117 receiving yards, 62 catches, 9 touchdowns, huge catch radius. He has great tracking on deep balls, and he has that toe drag swag. He's able to keep his feet in bounds and keep himself in play. A comparable comp for him is Brian Thomas, who has been pretty good for the Jaguars. And you see, this is some of his route trees right here. He is going to absolutely feast on corner routes, out routes, dig routes. He's good on screens, curls, and comebacks. And also, I do believe that we want an over-the-top threat to be able to beat people deep. This is what he represents. He is that true deep threat, that big body deep threat that the Panthers have really been missing. And how about this? In 2021, he took a picture with his mom wishing her happy birthday. And I'd be darned if he wasn't wearing a Carolina Panthers jacket. This man, I'm going to let you guys give your take on him. And then I want to say something interesting about Chris Brazzell that I feel is really relevant in regards to how you're going to evaluate him.
All right. Before we do that, let's hear from Dave Canales on Brazzell and how he fits into Carolina. Turn the volume up.
Take those traits, but then also play the ball in the air. One of the things that Chris showed is his ability to play the deep ball, land on his feet, finish the play. That's something that's very rare, where a lot of times you'll see a guy high point a ball, lay out for it, they end up on the ground. He's just got a special balance with how he finishes, which translates that speed and that size, so just all those things, and we've seen how we've been able to use Xavier, T-Mac, Jalen, with all the intermediate stuff and have gone down the field a little bit, and taken some opportunities. But, I think about the space created when they know this is a real burner, and what that does to safeties, what that does to corners, and just creating space for the whole group.
You mentioned a few guys that wide receiver.
All right. CK is, you were talking about early on in the draft, you were not going to be excited, it's like you were hoping they wouldn't take a wide receiver,
right?
And largely because of what it would indicate, I think, about, who they got and their feelings on them. And we kind of circle back to XL with Coker, I guess, also in that conversation. But majority of it will XL become the player that we all hope he can be and kind of merits that first round, late, early second round type investment. He's 32nd overall. The Panthers traded up to get the opportunity for fifth-year option. But I was thinking about this a little bit is I wonder if the Carolina Panthers are interested in doing the best they can in avoiding free agent money in the wide receiver group in years. And what I mean by that is that free agent receivers get big time money. When you go and get the big guy they get, and they're going to eat up so much of your draft or your free agent capital. Where you got T-Mac, you get a fifth-year option on him. If Brazzell can be a guy that becomes a player, you're kind of putting off the requirement of buying the player down the road. And maybe their idea is that wide receivers in the draft are cheaper than they are in free agency.
Maybe this was probably the bigger shock to me is that not that we went wide receiver, but we went and hit, at least on the front half of the draft. But as far as, let me do this. Yeah. With Brazzell, did you guys see Steve Smith's breakdown?
I didn't get to see Steve Smith's
discussion
on him.
What did Steve say?
He was talking about how you don't, and this is an oversimplification, I think. But he's like, you talk to in many scouts in the NFL, they're going to say you don't take a wide receiver out of Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And he was basically talking about how it's not even on Brazzell. It's that those coaches leave them out to dry. They basically tell them to take plays off to save themselves some energy for, X, Y, or Z or something like that.
So this is what I'll say. And then I'll play it.
Tennessee football culture is improving, though, over the years. I could be wrong on that, but that's kind of it's contrary in so many ways to what Cody's always said is draft the player, not the helmet.
Sure.
So is Steve? It's interesting. So was Steve Smith not overly excited about it, or was he just saying that this is a narrative that comes with it?
Well, he didn't even have Brazzell on his big board.
Wow.
So listen, let me add a little bit more context to why Steve Smith said what he said. Tennessee's offense is very gimmicky. So what they do is they'll run a ton of bunch formations. So they'll have three wide receivers out to one side, and then they'll just let them haul ass down the field. And what happens is a lot of these guys, they're not being manned up by corners like they're going to be in the NFL because you can't put, two different corners and a safety off to one side of the field. So there is a lot of manufactured yards in Tennessee's offense that, it does make it really hard to evaluate some of these players. But this is what's different about Chris Brazzell. And you see, I don't know if you watched all of what Steve Smith said. I didn't hear anything of what he said, so maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I would be surprised if he didn't mention that Chris Brazzell was a transfer. He only spent 1 year at Tennessee. All you have to do is look back to the prior 2 seasons when he was with Tulane University, and you can watch him be in a much more NFL-friendly system where he will have to do things like he will have to do in the NFL, and he thrived there also. This is part of the reason why an SEC school was even wanting him in the first place. Look, this is on the goal line. You see the ability to change direction and move. He has it in abundance. He can work across the middle, but that catch radius, it just does so much for him. I wanted to play one more.
That's a big guy to do that move.
Yes.
Yeah,
So look, these are all
That's what
NFL concepts and routes. Look, in between two defenders and still comes down with it. Do not let the tendency issue be what sours you on Chris Brazzell. He proved at Tulane he could run NFL route concepts, and the type of physical athletic profile that we see in him is absolutely incredible.
It's
This
NFL
is a
worthy.
this is a great pick for the Panthers offense.
All right.
And
Go ahead.
it also might signal the end of Xavier Legette if Xavier Legette does not really prove himself to be an asset to this Panthers offense.
All right. I've got here is the regional scout on Brazzell. Volume's up.
So Chris, as you said, the speed is what jumps out to you right away. It's the size, but also it's the combination of the speed, size, and body control that he shows you all over the field. I mean, it's not just that he can take the top off and be a vertical threat. It's that when he's down deep, he's a guy that Bryce can throw up to. He's got that large catch radius. He can go up and catch, those balls over the DBs and be able to come down with it and keep his feet on the ground. I think if you watch the Georgia game, which he just absolutely popped off, you see him making some amazing catches down there. And it's just something that completely opens up our offense. And he's been doing that, from his time at Tulane and then to Tennessee.
Hold on.
Is there something that sticks out to you about a guy who's had a dad that's
okay? No. All right. So that's some thoughts there. And then this is Joe Person asking about plays that potentially stood out. And I think
if you're a dad watching this,
hold on. Let's get through the ads.
I'm glad I'm not the only one getting life insurance ads. I think I'm about to go.
Yeah, here we go. All right, here are some plays, some things that if they asked this to a couple, they asked this to Corey Fuller. I think that was a hard one for him when Monroe Freeling. Is there a game that stood out where you were just like, this guy? He was like, nah, it's like a pretty overall. But here is on Brazzell, a game that stood out.
Game or any that you kind of remember off the top of your head?
Yeah, so in that Georgia game, he has actually 2 deep ball touchdowns that he scored. He scored 3 touchdowns in the game, which is incredible. I think he had 6 catches for 177 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is, that's exactly what we need and what we want to bring to the Panthers. But in 2 of those touchdowns, he went up, he was contested, he was getting knocked around by DBs, he caught over the DB's head, just those awesome hands that he has, and was able to stay on his feet and make the play. And I think those are the plays that take it from, putting you in position to score to actually scoring, that take you from being, good to great.
So good things on Brazzell. I think it's an exciting, very exciting pick in some ways to me. If you hear about kind of the value there, I think you said he was the #1 receiver in the SEC. Some different, like maybe
most
these
yards and touchdowns in the SEC last year.
Maybe these things don't, scream. They're not a top round pick. They're not a first round pick, not a second round pick, but maybe. Yeah. Look, there have been real good finds in the NFL at receiver in these middle rounds, and I feel like the 2 things that stick out to me about this is measurables and production in college.
Yes.
I don't feel like this is just in some ways kind of that Sadiq narrative, which is like, man, he's just such a physical freak, and we got one little small sample set. It seems like this is like he's put the tape now was just made gravy more by the measurables. So I think this is an exciting pick. Are we moving on to the 4th round now?
Yes, sir. That would be Will Lee the third.
Oh, I thought it was Willie. Oh,
well, I guess it could be. It technically kind of is.
Yeah, I know.
Will Lee the third, round 4, cornerback, the 129th pick in the draft. And this dude is a ball hawk, man. In 2025, 40 solo tackles, 8 pass breakups, and 1 sack. Tony, his film against LSU, which I could play if you want. We get demonetized, but
this is fun.
Will Lee is an absolute monster. His film was dominant. None of the LSU wide receivers had anything for him. I mean, his nickname is Seatbelt because he will put the seatbelt on you. And adding him to a room that has J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson, like this dude represents an incredible value pick. He's long, he's strong, he plays the football. I think part of the reason why he fell down in the draft a little bit was because he didn't have any interceptions last year. But his physical profile is everything that you want in a corner. He's almost 6 feet 3 inches tall, long arms. He runs a 4.52, which is still very fast. He has a good ability to mirror flexible hips. He'll stay in the hip pocket of the wide receiver throughout the entirety of the route. Correction, Blanket was his nickname, not Seatbelt, Blanket. Thank you to Talamar 87. And he is a blanket. He will be blanketed all over the opposing wide receiver. And to me, this is a fantastic selection. And I think that he could be a legitimate option for us this year. That's the type of competitor he is.
I think this is if you continue to look at like how the team is attacking the free agency and the draft is, I mean, they are, and they need to be need oriented, right? I mean, it would be silly to never address any needs and try to strengthen your team.
Yeah,
but like is behind J.C. Horn and Mike Jack, that you have some questions about the ability of the Panthers to, if you're suffering with injuries, of guys that could play coverage. And Mike Jack, we talked over the last couple of months about, is that you could see him trying to hold out in a sense because of the way he's getting paid. I'm not saying that he's going to do that, but like, the Panthers are going to have to invest in him, and they're going to have some decisions to make. And regardless of that financial kind of component down the road, this team could have just benefited from depth. So you got to like the fact that they are targeting that and getting players or value. That would have been on day 3, right? So he's a day 3 pick, correct?
Yes.
All right. I want to play this is because the Carolina Panthers, one thing you saw, a lot of activity. I thought there were some really smart things they did in moving in this draft in that on day 3, because it really said, was it last week, guys? We talked about kind of the fake value of those late picks.
Right.
And it really seemed like while it felt like they were moving back early in day 3, but they were moving so far up and 50 spots for their 5th round pick. So I think that they increased the value of their 5th round pick a lot through this movement. Here is Dan Morgan on, let's see if I get the right percent screen. Dan Morgan on them trading back on day 3.
I got it.
Sam Hecht.
All right, ready? Let's go.
Are those two guys, when you had the opportunity to draft them, were you surprised that they were still available at when you got the chance to take them?
Yeah, a little bit. I think you saw us kind of maneuver around the board a little bit. Just looking at our board, we had a handful of players that we had up there, so we're like, hey, we like these guys. Like, they're all guys that we feel like can help us. So we're like, let's trade back. Let's gain more picks, gain more value. And, we did that, and it worked out in our favor at the end.
So I think some of that, what I'm referring to is that, is you traded back a little bit, but those trade backs too were trade ups in other places for these, what is it, the 5th, go to our next pick, because this, I think, here is where that movement gets you higher value in the 5th round. Sam Hecht, a lot of people at pick 144. I don't think the Panthers would have been picking anywhere in this and have held that if they wouldn't have done this. Sam Hecht, center from Kansas State. A lot of people excited about this. Did not have any sacks or any penalties last year. And I think even Cody was saying that you can see an opportunity where this guy is good enough to compete, potentially to start on this team sooner than later.
Boys, this might be my favorite pick in the entire draft. I'm really being serious. Sam Hecht, for most people, was one of, if not the best center prospect in this year's draft. And CK, why I said what I said earlier, and just to put this in context a little bit, since 2024, 796 pass blocking snaps with 0 sacks allowed. That's a goose egg, boys. Look, shout out to Dan. He brought in Luke Fortner to be center for us this year. He's played with the Jaguars. He's played with the Saints a little bit. To me, this is an incredible value pick who could damn well be our center of the future. He's one of those players who's a road grader. He's incredibly strong. In 2025, he had an 80.3 PFF grade, 4th amongst 307 centers. He allowed only 7 total pressures, 0 sacks, 0 hits, and had 0 penalties. Boys, you remember in recent years, we've had a bunch of different movement at the center position between Cade Mays, Austin Corbett, Brady Christensen got some play. This was such a big-time value pick for the Carolina Panthers at a position of need. And I'm going to call it now. I think Sam Hecht will be our starting center this year. This dude is that good. His film is that much of a top high-end offensive line film that you would want to see. And I even have a couple clips of him going up against Lee Hunter, our second round pick at the Senior Bowl. And let's just say Sam Hecht came out victorious, boys. This dude is a real dog. And I think in front of Bryce for the foreseeable future, he could be one of the best players on our entire offense if we're able to utilize him correctly.
I heard that. I think he addressed it was either the media or where I caught this clip at, is that excited to be with the Panthers, very thankful for the opportunity and what's happening with the Carolina Panthers, their offensive line. But he said he was, they kind of thought his camp thought he was going to be a 3rd round selection. So if you want to see, this might be, if we were talking, if you go back to, and you don't got to flip back, but that value chart you put up at the very beginning, how the Panthers got extreme value. I bet you this pick had something to do with it.
Absolutely. Every single one of our picks was a player that was projected to go earlier than they did. So this was the most value-laden draft in recent memory for the Carolina Panthers. You want to see him on Lee Hunter?
All right, let's do it. Sam Hecht, I think I know that Dan Morgan, Dan Morgan wasn't even aware of the 0 penalties thing. He said that's pretty neat when the media told him about it. He said, I don't know if I knew that specifically, but.
And by the way, shout out to Vegas Panthers Drew. Says, I hate drafting players with physical gifts with little production or stats. Not that they can't develop, just don't like the boom or bust potential. Well, one of the best things about this year's draft is that they're both. They all have production to go with the incredible physical gifts that they have on film and in the combine. So, as you see lined up, this is Sam Hecht.
Because I thought you said he didn't play in the game. Okay.
Yes, these are practices. So, Sam Hecht on Lee Hunter. I mean, he tried to get that push on him. and just couldn't get anything. You see, he has his feet spaced far apart. He doesn't have his pads too far over his feet. His shoulders are feet length apart. This dude is a legitimate center prospect.
Good rep against the guy that we hope has even better reps going forward, and that we were just celebrating as a Panthers pick. All right, who do we got? What do we got next, Cody?
Next up,
okay,
in
a lot of
round
people are
5.
kind of excited about this pick. Back in excitement for the Carolina Panthers fan base in this kind of 3 through 5 rounds. I think a lot of people are hyped about these picks.
They really were. I mean, now we've drafted Zakee Wheatley, safety out of Penn State, and he will be a true over-the-top free safety in the NFL. In 2025, Wheatley allowed a 69.2 passer rating when targeted. He had an 89.2 PFF grade, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup, and allowed just 7 receptions. That's crazy for the amount of snaps he played. He also had 59 solo tackles, which shows you he is not scared to get dirty and really get in there and make a tackle. He had 59 solo tackles, being great in the open field. This is a steal for the Panthers. 6'2". He's a rangy safety that can play both sides of the field. This is a really, really great pick. He allowed the fewest yards in coverage last season, according to PFF. I'm going to read that again. The fewest yards in coverage, only 36 in all of college football last season. This dude is a legitimate safety prospect.
That's what we were calling for as the Panthers continuing to want, that speed, that rangy guy in the backfield, one that is not just grabbing a safety, but one that complements a player like Morig or Ransom going forward. If Ransom is able to kind of be the next guy behind Morig when he moves on, how do you think that affects the safety room? Like, what do you think about with Ransom's development, where he can play, how he can play? Is this mean that they're looking at him differently, or what do we think about that?
Well, to me, this says less about Lathan Ransom or Trevon Morig and more of a replacement for Nick Scott, which, Nick Scott he had his ups and downs last year, but this is by far a more high caliber, high quality player than Nick Scott. It has been a liability, a lot of different times last year. So I think this is an incredibly interesting safety room. Him, Lathan Ransom, Trevon Morig. I think this is good. I really do like this.
Now, the Panthers had one more draft pick, correct?
That is correct.
And that was a linebacker, I believe, from Miami. No,
you're not wrong.
Okay.
Miami of Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. So Miami of Ohio linebacker Jason Kuwach had the fastest 10-yard split in the entire mock draftable database. He's incredibly quick between the tackles. At 1.5 10-yard split on a 4.64 is a wild combination. He can move. He can cover. He's borderline top 100. Remember, they're saying this about a player who went in the 7th round, 6th or 7th round. This is another one of those value picks. We're at the end of our draft. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee you that any of the last few players are locks to make the team. But what I can say is that the Panthers absolutely got the bang for their buck. And I think there's a couple wild cards in this draft that can really make a meaningful difference this year. And I personally think that Jason or that Kuwach will probably be a special teamer on day one.
Well, he talked about how many snaps he played in special teams in college. Is this him?
No,
that's
what is this?
No, dude, that's
pop up.
No, that's an AI. Dude,
What
that's
is
an
this?
Jimmy
AI.
Horn.
That's Jimmy Horn and AI Whiteface.
Oh, okay. That's
And
Princely
Princely-
Umanulin put
yeah,
that up.
he
And I
put it
was like,
up.
what in the world is going on in Panthers Twitter?
And JJ Jansen said, I really want to know what prompt you put in there.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going. I was like, who is this? I didn't have time to research it, but I was like, what in the world's going on here?
Yeah, so,
Shout out to John B. Jenkins, member of the C3 Superfan Club for 44 months, all positions no one talks about until they're bad, right? And so fortifying the positions, I think, is important. So we're not talking about offensive line, defensive tackle in the future. So we're not talking about wide receiver and trying to play catch up, but we're playing from ahead. The Panthers' full draft class includes, you want me to read it off?
Yeah.
All right, Monroe Freeling, first round. Lee Hunter, defensive line, Texas Tech, second round. Chris Brazzell, wide receiver, Tennessee. Will Lee, defensive back. What's that? It's Texas. What is that? Texas A&M?
Yeah, Texas A&M University.
Sam Hecht, Kansas City. K-State center, Saki Wheatley, defensive back, Penn State. Jackson Kuwach, linebacker of Miami, Ohio.
Yeah.
Now, some
You want me to read through these?
Just tell me if you want to, if there's anybody that's sticking off of this list.
Yeah, our quarterback room is also going to be interesting going into training camp because, of course, we have Bryce, we have Kenny Pickett, we brought in Will Greer, brought him back to the team, but also the Georgia Tech quarterback, Haynes King. Now, Georgia Tech, they had a surprisingly good football team that this year. They beat my Clemson Tigers.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that Haynes King would be drafted, and he fell to undrafted, and now he is a Carolina Panther. Just to go through them, Jalen Gillibrew, DB out of Texas, Cam Miller, DB out of Rutgers, Kobe Patience, wide receiver out of Baylor, Aaron Hall, D lineman out of Duke, Malik Mega, wide receiver out of Coastal Carolina, Albert Reese, offensive lineman out of Mississippi State. Now, if my memory serves me correct, this dude is like 6'7", 330 pounds. It's either him or Isaiah Glass. I'm not sure which one it is, but he is a mammoth of a human being. So that's another big body on the offensive line for the Panthers. Devonta Smith, not that Devonta Smith, DB out of Notre Dame, Isaiah Glass out of Vanderbilt, and Parker Peterson from Wisconsin. That rounds out the full draft class and undrafted free agents for the Carolina Panthers. Boys, I know I'm a broken record, but I am incredibly impressed with Dan Morgan and everything that he's been able to do through this point. It's just incredible, man. Love watching his growth. This is a really fantastic draft for the Panthers, and I see some real difference makers in the foreseeable future.
How about this? Let's see what the fans have to say about this draft. Let's go to the cat calls. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. Be a C3 super fan. Cody Lack, I'm ready to rock.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Thought I was ready to rock. Come on, where's the play?
Shout out to my guy Drew. We were pissing people off on X.
Call and talk about the draft.
Here we go.
The off season as a whole.
Can you hear it
What's
now?
up, man? Yep.
Really think
Start
Dan
it
did a
over.
great
Start it
job
over.
this past
I
weekend.
think it's quiet in the beginning.
Yo.
Okay.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony. From
What's up,
Charlotte,
man?
How y'all boys doing? Hope y'all are having a good Tuesday. Just wanted to call and talk about the draft, the off season as a whole.
Yeah, man.
Man, really think Dan did a great job this past weekend. You know, starting with Monroe, obviously I think there was a lot of confusion about like, oh, well, you know, why didn't we take Lemon or Thieneman? And I think the best way to look at it is like, yeah, like going from Leggett to Lemon or Nick Scott to Thieneman would have been a big upgrade right away for this team. I think they made a smart, long-term
Agreed
decision. Getting a pass-first offensive tackle who, I mean, when I was doing mock drafts, he wasn't even there. Some guys had him as a top 10 player in this class. I actually believe Dan when he says he was BPA. Like, I watched Georgia last year. He was great. So I think he's going to come in here and be a great pick. I'm very excited about him. So honestly, like, to me, little upset at first, but not really. Like, I'm not a hater of going offensive line. A lot of good teams in the draft did it, right? The Steelers, the Ravens. It's just what you have to do sometimes. And you got to get cheaper on the offensive line too, especially with bigger decisions coming down the line. So there's that. The second round pick, who did we take in the second round? I'm trying to think real quick.
Lee Hunter.
Lee Hunter. Lee. Love that pick as well. Trying to get cheaper on the defense.
That memorable,
line. Ashawn Robinson replacement. He's a huge dude. Should open up Derek Brown a lot and all the other guys on the offensive line. Great run stopper. Then Chris Brazzell, which I think is an interesting one. Because to me, I talked about earlier how they chose not to upgrade some of the key positions on defense or Lemon, but you get the same value here, and Leggett, has some pressure, right? Vertical threat, we needed that. Then you move on to.
Well, come on.
Sam
Is that
Hecht.
the end of his call?
Yeah, there we go. I think. Well, let me see. I press something. All right, we'll go to the next call.
What's up, C3? I hope y'all having a good night. It's Kyle from Spartanburg. I was just calling to say, man, I haven't really called in a while. I've been listening, though, but the draft was good. I mean, I liked all the additions. It wasn't anything sexy or what everyone loves to see in the draft, but it was a smart draft that we did, and hopefully all these pieces can help us win another division title. But talking about the division and going to the other teams, man, they drafted really well as well. I mean, the Bucks getting Ruben Bain at 15, that was crazy, man. Like, he's a really good edge rusher. I mean, he's going to wreak havoc against us for years and years to come. The Saints getting Jordan Tyson. I mean, I feel like religiously Chris Olave always gives J.C. Horn some kind of issues no matter what every single year. So them having Olave and Tyson will, I'm sure, be annoying to deal with as well. But, the division got better. We got better. So hopefully we can, pull everything together this season for another playoff push. But, all right, guys, hope y'all have a good show. See you.
All right, thanks for the call. Let's go to the Hope Dealer.
To the charismatic CK, the tenacious Tony Dunn, and yes, the incomparable Cody Lack.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, everybody? This the Hope Dealer checking in real quick. It don't gotta be sexy to get the job done, baby. It don't gotta be sexy to get the job done, baby. Y'all know what I'm talking about, that NFL draft, baby. I'm talking about that round 1 pick 19, Monroe Freeling, let's go. That pick 2, Lee Hunter, the big old nose tackle, big old defensive tackle.
Yeah.
That round 3, Chris Brazzell Dazzle for Tennessee. Round 4, Will Lee the 3rd. Round 5, Sam Hecht. Round 5, Zachy Weekly, baby. And round 7, I want to see what this Jackson Q Watch is going to do. I am so excited about this draft. Dan Morgan cooked.
Same, brother.
He cooked up something special, y'all. And you know what? I was thinking about this thing right here. it might not be the big names that everybody anticipated. Right. I understand we still got some needs, but you know what? After seeing Dan Morgan over the past 2 drafts continuously find talent in the later rounds, I'm gonna have to call back. I got a quick second call because this is so important, y'all,
Yeah,
that we
man,
get
bring it.
this. I'm so excited. Yeah, this the Hope Dealer. I'm gonna call back with a quick second call.
All right, here we go. With,
Hope Dealer.
Here we go.
Hope Dealer second call real quick. But yeah, I was talking about Dan Morgan and how he's finding talent in these later rounds. Y'all, do y'all realize that 2 of our 5th round picks were projected to go in the 3rd round?
Yeah.
How does he find these people?
Shopping at the
And when you
value
think
mart,
about
baby.
all of the undrafted free agents from previous rosters. Oh, and let's not even talk about Haynes King, baby. He found the ACC Player of the Year from Georgia Tech as a UDFA. Are you kidding me? As a quarterback? Hey, man, look, I'm excited to see what all these players are going to be able to do, both the draft picks and the undrafted free agents. Dan Morgan has proven that he can find talent from every which way. And I'm so excited about that. Having 2 third-round grades on 5th-round players is huge. But I did have one question, y'all, regarding left tackle. We may have already covered this, but look, I don't think Ikem Ekwonu's time is over at Carolina, man. I want to pull a Lee Corso and say, not so fast, my friend.
Okay.
Because you know what, Icky might be able to get plugged in that guard. We don't know. Plus the Taylor Moton situation. So give me y'all thoughts on that. But one other quick tidbit, man. I don't know if y'all saw, but congratulations to Jonathan Brooks and Princely Umami Ellen. Both of them got baptized and gave their life to Jesus.
Sir.
Man, that's huge,
Amen.
man. I'm so
Praise
happy
God.
for those guys this past weekend. But anyway, y'all, love y'all. This the Hope Dealer. Everybody, keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Love the Hope Dealer. And he brings up Ikem Ekwonu and Tony CK. This is a fun little conversation to have because we can talk about the options that Carolina has going forward. Let's say next season we decided to cut Damian Lewis to save some money, right? Because we could do that by cutting Damian Lewis. Right. How much do you think the organization feels like they would be willing to basically insert Ikem Ekwonu in at left guard, or even have, when it gets back healthy, come back this year as a left guard, as a backup? Would you be willing to give Icky a 1-year prove-it deal to play guard? And remember, I've been pounding the drum forever that Ikem Ekwonu is better served as a guard than he is a tackle. I think he could have been an all-pro guard. I just never believed that he had the type of dancing bare feet to be able to really live on the edge at left tackle. So what are the chances the Panthers do give him an opportunity to play guard? And would you like to see that?
I'm open to it. I think if we can put him at that, I mean, right now it's clear to me that this move with getting, moving obviously from an offensive line, not even just with our free agency, but within the draft, it's clear to me they're preparing to move on from someone. Now, the real question mark, is it Taylor Moton or is it Ikem Ekwonu, right? And if it's Taylor Moton, then Icky has a spot on this team next year, right? It's going to be at one of the left or right tackle positions. But if it's moving on from Icky, well, there is that option that you're talking about, which is moving him to the tackle position, which I don't think is inherently a bad decision if they were to move that direction. You have talked about it from day one, from him being drafted, that his position was better suited at the tackle as opposed, or at the guard as opposed to the tackle. And so I think it would be, I feel like short-sighted not to put him at that position just to see if there's value at that, and moving him there. Do I anticipate he is going to be, somehow a significantly better player at that position? I really don't know. I don't have any insight on that front whatsoever. I'll leave that to the draft people that look at the intangibles or the measurables, if you will, and make those choices. Somebody like our boy Cody Lack here, but listen, I'm a fan of Icky as a whole, right? I want him to work out, and if that means moving him to that position, I'm all for it, man.
I think when it comes to Icky I don't know if it's moving on from these guys. I think you have to just think of what is life, how does the team operate in the future, and not a specific player, Taylor Moton or Rasheed, is that they invested a lot in draft capital in Ikem Ekwonu because of that draft capital and their hope and need to secure a left tackle. And his recent improvement in year 4, I guess, that the idea that he might not be the best left tackle in the league, but he was getting better and playing well enough. And that you have to, instead of trying to reset and move on and try to find something else, is you build around that, or you build off of that draft selection you made several years ago. Now, the injury just complicates this whole matter for the team and for Ekwonu going forward. To answer your question specifically, Cody, about trying him at guard, or what do you think about maybe as a cost savings device if it works? I think this is that Ikem Ekwonu, before his injury, was going to ink some sort of very respectable extension, likely with the Carolina Panthers. And if he wasn't, he was going to try to play well enough to ink a deal with another team at a tackle position, because you get more money at that position. But because of the nature of Ikem Ekwonu's injury and the timing of the injury at his contractual point in his career, right, is before that deal. But it's not like he's gotten a contract. It's not like it was early enough in his rookie contract they can come back and find a way, and maybe they're doing something around him. I think Ekwonu is going to have to be willing for any team to come on and just make the offensive line, make it into a starting role. And if that requires you considering the idea of playing well at guard, I think that's going to be very important for him to arguably, that might be the pathway to him making or recouping the losses financially that occurred because of this unfortunate time with his injury. I don't think it would be wise for Carolina to think of it as we'll bring you in on a 1 year, you see how you deal, and then we can use this as leverage. I think you should just continue to try to find good players. This guy, he's got a familiarity with the organization. You have that rapport with the coaches and things in the system. So I think this would be a good place for him to try to develop after post-injury. I think it'd be good for him. I can see them doing a 2-year deal for the guy or something like that. But it would probably be with the idea is, look, we can't, the left tackle position is not yours to have back, arguably. Maybe if you want it, but maybe an opportunity at right tackle if Taylor Moton is considering. But the way Moton was talking today is he seems like he's I'm ready to play my best ball right now.
Yeah,
so I think you're going to have to
be slowing down.
It might be a get in where you fit in, and let's make some money until we find that.
Yeah, to me, him playing guard would really help us tremendously. If he could play guard, let's be real. What did you see Ikem Ekwonu doing more seamlessly? Playing right tackle or playing left guard or right guard?
Well, I don't know if, probably seamlessly. To me, it doesn't seem wild to consider that. I think it would be an easier positional shift from him moving from tackle to guard than it would be from guard to tackle. Right? You talked about his natural fit in that case, but I think for any big-bodied offensive lineman, maybe even in college that they were able to play that left tackle, you see a lot of those guys go in and start to play different positions because their size alone isn't the thing that can win, but that the speed of their feet and some different things.
Yeah.
So I think that adjustment at guard is just a reasonable adjustment for a top tier offensive lineman to be able to make. And you're right, is like it's less of the kick step, getting used to the different, defeating that muscle memory that you've had for so long.
Yeah.
Is that you are pushing forward or slightly less lateral movement, it feels like.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I agree for the most part.
All right, let's go to John B. Jenkins.
John B.
Hey guys, John B. Jenkins calling in with your weekly Alternative Football League update. Starting off with the National Arena League, the Omaha Beef have finally won. They are now 1-5. The team they beat, the Dallas Bulls, has actually just been kicked out of the league for not paying their league dues. And the Southwest Kansas Storm are 6-0. Over in the IFL, I convinced my father-in-law to finally watch a game with me, and boy, did it deliver. We watched the Northern Arizona Wranglers at the San Antonio Gunslingers. By the way, the San Antonio Gunslingers were once a USFL team in 1984 to 1985, and Rick Neuheisel, the current Dallas Renegades coach of the UFL, was their quarterback back in 84-85. But anyway, the Wranglers versus the Gunslingers. I saw this short little fat dude come out onto the field, number 95. His name is none other than mi hermano, Nestor Manuel Higuera. He is 5'5" and 275 pounds, and he is their kicker. And in the IFL, you can do something called dropping the deuce, where you kick the ball into the uprights in the opposing end zone on kickoff. You get 2 points, and then the other team gets it. Anyway, this dude was dropping deuces. This short little dude, I suggest you go figure out who Nestor Manuel Higuera is. Now, moving over to AF1, I cannot recommend this league enough. Just great visuals on YouTube, and the rebound nets really add a unique element to the scoring of that game. In the UFL, Tony, this one goes out to you. I was watching the Louisville Kings beat the Dallas Renegades coached by Rick Neuheisel. Score was 47-25, and on the screen, I saw none other than Steve Logan. And I thought, Tony, Steve Logan is the offensive coordinator of the Louisville Kings.
That's awesome.
Over in La Liga de Fútbol Americano Profesional, they are entering into week 4, and our Osos de Monterrey beat the Jalisco Reyes 24-14. And in rounding out the update, the Women's Football Alliance has just started this past weekend, and they actually, you can watch all of their games if you would like to on the All Women's Sports Network on Amazon Prime. So that's the Alternative Football League update for you. And I just wanted to say I'm so happy that we now have Morgan Freeman as our left tackle. That's all I've got for you. As always, keep pounding Carolina Panthers, keep pounding Panthers Rorschach, go fish, and keep pounding C3 Panthers podcast. John B. Jenkins out.
Keep pounding.
Nice call. Look at there. There's an image for you of Nestor Manuel Higuera.
Yeah.
Good kick in form right there. There we go. All right, let's go on. Let's hit the next goal.
What's going on, boys? Greetings from beautiful Idaho. Tater out here.
What's up, Tater?
The draft is awesome. Hopping on draft day, chewing the fat with you boys.
Yeah, man.
Had some time to digest it, and just excited to hear the show tonight. Great to hear my man Cody Lack's voice back in action.
Appreciate you, brother.
Overall, I'm not putting too much stock into the players that we picked up. I think it was a safe draft. There was nothing too sexy about it. Kind of my takeaway though is I'm a little concerned that based on the personnel we took and hearing Dan talk, we're not drafting for depth. It just left me walking away thinking we're not a contender yet in his eyes. We're still in rebuild mode. We're rebuilding the line. If those are our two starters, we didn't go get someone sexy or splashy to help Rice until the 3rd round, and wide receiver number 14 or 16, and those can always pop. But again, that was the one downer for me was, didn't feel like Dan had the conviction to say, yep, we're all in and we're in contention. So just wondering how you guys think about that. Again, in Dan we trust, and the players he picked up, man, they're going to be good. You know,
Well, I think that just that we
getting that center and Will Lee, get some quality starts here in the next 2 years. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Keep pounding.
I wouldn't be too concerned with the idea of
Hold me for a second.
That Dan Morgan doesn't have a conviction there. I think that he's always been cautious in over presenting where the team is at, and
Sure.
that is, he has said, and it's almost like, look, my role of the general manager is to continue to build this team, to put it in a continued position to grow, compete, and win. He was reluctant to say, well, we're here to compete for the division, or, it's like he has said they have a commitment to winning and getting better. And I think that in some ways I see it as maybe a blessing in some sense, that they believe that they are continuing to retool and build at the same time, to where they're not looking for players that are just going to be drafted and wasted away, but they really believe that these guys could be positive additions going forward. But I felt like in some of his press conference, CK was like, this is my job. I don't know how these guys are going to be, and what's going to happen is, like, my job is to continue to find the best potential players to grow this team. Shout out to C-Dog for the C3 super chat right there. C3 podcast, longest running Panthers podcast on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in on Tuesday night. Smash the button, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, all of that jazz. CK, is that they haven't even practiced yet, right? I think we want to. I think Dan Morgan has always just had measured optimism.
I think it's fair. I think he should have some sense of measured optimism. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, we don't want them hyping us up more than we already do to have some sort of disappointment. The Panthers come out and win 9 games this year, have some, and we're like looking at this as a failure, and what's going to happen? They really have to show. I think it's going to be hard for them to have that just continued, just confidence in everything. I think they're gaining confidence in their process, right? As we're getting better at, getting this team under control, to where we're not just trying to survive the moment. We're not just treading water, but we're swimming in a direction. But there are still proof that the Panthers aren't just that this isn't a one-off. We're going to have to see more from Dave Canales, and it's like his continued growth and development. There was excitement and optimism surrounding Bryce Young's development, but let's not act like it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be the Panthers' decade-long, answer at this position. I think they're happy and excited about the way things are going, but I don't think that that they are ready to just say that it's a necessary truth that this will continue to improve unless we continue to make the right moves.
Yeah, I think a lot of these moves, even the fact that they're focused on getting a young quarterback in here as well, it tells us that they're not being complacent when it comes to any position, in my opinion. One of the things that was said on the calls tonight was, the not drafting for depth, right? Is that the most recent one, or is that one before? Is that Anthony?
Yeah.
Okay. And so with that, I think that I don't know that means that he doesn't think we're a contending team. I do know where the fear comes into play as a Panthers fan, that maybe our own GM doesn't have the same confidence that we do in this team, but I don't see it that way. I think that they've just got to plan for worst case and hope for best, as we all should do in life, to be fair.
And I guess because I'm as I've watched, we've had our 14th draft party. I've had intense interest and follow of this team since we started the podcast, right? Not that I didn't follow, but Now it's mandatory for me to stay up with everything. So we've watched these iterations of things going forward. And one of the kind of things I mean, in some ways, I think that all the draft population is kind of paralyzed by this. I would even say some cases I see it in tinges of like Cody's excitement for different players, is that they are an addition now that's going to just make such a difference on a team like this. Like, and there are moments that teams like have a draft and that these players become a star immediately, but those moments seem so far and fleeting. I think like the draft and free agency is, and you heard Brant Tillis talk about this, we're looking 3 years down the road. You know, is that, yeah, I mean, you are drafting players to make a contribution. You are not drafting players to be backups and to learn with only, but you're not living in an environment where this team is only in the now. They have to be in the now and in the present and the future at the same time. Let's go to White Chocolate Espresso and hear what he's got to say about the draft.
Yo, it's White Chocolate Espresso. What's up? And yo, the draft was cool. I loved every bit of it. I didn't get the guys I wanted, you know, or there was some guys I really wanted, but I'm also not mad at the guys they got instead, you know. And of course, Jacob Rodriguez I wanted that dude so bad. But I'm not mad at the defensive tackle either, because I did a lot of mock drafts. I had him, you know, I took him.
Yeah.
The center, I totally forgot was on the board still. Like, that is a huge pickup. Huge. I think we got to move Icky next year to the guard. You know, with this dude, left tackle from Charleston, South Carolina, I might add. Another one of my favorite pickups, not draft, pickups, the quarterback from Georgia Tech. The dude had over 952 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns last year. Yeah, he's going to be our Taysom Hill. He's going to run. He's going to do all the power runs and, you know, push and all that stuff. He's definitely, I love that, because Kenny Pickett, ill. Will Greer, ill. You know, at least get some fresh faces to try.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, and Dan we trust. I trust Dan Morgan 100%. In fact, the greatest move he made this last week was the move he didn't make. And the draft pick he didn't make. And that is not drafting a Clemson player.
Oh, that was for you, Cody.
Fuck you, Cody. Peace.
All right, let's go to Nick in Massachusetts.
What is up, everybody?
Who won last, Kevin?
Up here in Mass, just calling in. Wanted to say that the draft,
bitch,
man, I couldn't really be happier. Like I told Tony, I wasn't necessarily happy with the tackle at first, but after I slept on it, it made a lot of sense, and it gives us more position versatility on the offensive line in the future. And at the end of the day, it was the best pick to make right there. And then just with the rest of the positions that we picked up, we filled a lot of needs. So I'm hoping that these guys end up turning into starters or they're rotational pieces. It'd be awesome if that center that we drafted turned into a starter. But the one question I have for you guys, what do you think is going to be the long-term spot that each one of those players fits in? Do you think they're going to be starters? Do you think they're going to be rotational pieces? Or do you think they're unfortunately going to be somewhere else down the road? So would love to know what you guys think. And, yeah, Tony, it was great seeing you again, brother. Guys, love the show. Keep pounding. And by the way,
all right, great question, Nick. Is out of the list of people, who do you see really having the potential to play a long-term kind of starting role or a real large contributor? I think you have to believe that first and second round picks, they believe, are going to be players of the future. The Brazzell pick, I think, is like if that works out as a starter, right? In the long run, I think. What do you think the odds of him being able to be that player are, Cody? I mean, not the odds specifically, but do you think when you sit down and you say, man, 3 years from now, we're gonna have T-Mac and Brazzell being the two outside wide receivers. Do you see that as a legitimate future?
Yeah, I definitely see that as a legitimate future. By the way, just so I don't miss it, shout out to C Dog with the $3. C3 podcast, longest running Panthers podcast on YouTube. Appreciate you, bro. But Tony, listen, I'll just give you this number. There are 4 players that I am highly confident will be a starter either this year or in the future. I think that's Monroe Freeling. I think that's Lee Hunter. I think that's Chris Brazzell. And I think that's Sam Hecht. I really think that those guys specifically. And by the way, I don't know how long Mike Jackson has on this team, but I could even see Will Lee being the heir apparent to Mike Jackson on the other side of the field from JC Horn. So potentially even 5. But I'll say from this draft, there are at least 4 players that I think are going to be meaningful difference makers for the Carolina Panthers going forward.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's hit up. Oh, we got Chuck from Elizabeth City back.
Hey guys, it's Chuck from Elizabeth City.
What up, Chuck?
I just kind of wanted to make a comment about this draft, particularly Dan Morgan, our general manager. Can you guys name 2 straight years the Panthers had this good of a draft in a row? I tell you, honestly, Morgan's third draft. I know the first one he had, it took Excel. It really doesn't look like that worked out good in Jonathan Brooks in the second. Although we did have some other guys that kind of held the ground in the draft. But last year's draft was one of the best drafts we've ever had. And even though we won't have an offensive or defensive rookie of the year out of this draft class, I believe we got a lot of solid players and a lot of depth. And I'm hoping in the near future that we'll finally draft that superstar safety and get an all-world linebacker that we've actually been missing for a long time. But overall, I got to say, great draft by Dan Morgan. He's really cooking. And Ings King, I look for that guy to be or Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I got to second this. Is looking. I try not to get overly put the cart before horse on these players, but you were talking 5 players. I mean, I feel like if Zakee Wheatley is the player that he was in college with the physical stats or comps he has, like that's an NFL player. So you mean it in a perfect world, you could have 6 meaningful contributors to this team. I think in the comments they said Panthros 7496 said Freeling and Hecht will be 10+ year starters on the O-line. Wheatley has a great chance to place 21 soon. And then you're starting to think about this is that he said Lee Hunter, he's going to be a beast and an 8-year starter. So, I mean, you're at a minute. I mean, I feel like you're walking away from this. And again, it's on paper. 4 at the minimum number, 6 at a crazy number, 5 at a great number.
Sure.
And what we have not seen the Carolina Panthers do historically is find players in 4 rounds, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and 5 that can make it like for like be something really incredible. We did have Cade Mays at one point. I like how the Panthers move is screw the 6 rounds. Let's package and get 2 of these higher end. Basically, the Panthers had 1, 2 there almost. They had pick 151. You're thinking they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks in the top 150 picks and prospects. And I think they got like NFL. I mean, you look at some of these guys, but like Brazzell and Wheatley, these are NFL bodies. You know, I think like that. And you could even say Willie the third. I mean, there's a lot of excitement there. I think there's an opportunity for this to be, hopefully, we need it to be one of the better drafts in Panther history as we continue to try to develop on that momentum from last season. Let's go back.
But you see how they can reason themselves, into all these different positions. You know, like Panther was saying, it's easy to see, given the way the roster is right now, how these guys can be meaningful contributors into the future. If you move on from Nick Scott, you know, eventually they're going to be moving on from Bobby Brown and Tershawn Wharton. These guys have a roadmap to being on the team for the foreseeable future. So that's why I think it's another reason why Panther fans love this draft so much.
Yeah. 3 calls to go.
Welcome to City Call again. I just wanted to reiterate, so I forgot to mention in the last call, but Sam Hecht, I've been playing a lot of these mock drafts, and he's someone that I had really, every time I drafted, I either picked up in the 3rd or 4th round. I really had my eye on him the whole draft. I'm probably more ecstatic about that pick than any other. Brazzell looks good. I think it's going to be a great pick. I never really ever mocked him. You know, receiver-wise, there's so many out there. I think it'll work out. I think Freeling was a good pick. I really wanted Rodriguez, the linebacker who went to Miami from Texas Tech in the 2nd. But I can't be upset with Lee Hunter. I think that'll work fine. And the safety, the corner we got, you know, really, guys, I just really feel Sam Hecht is going to be a guy who's going to be a long-time starter. I know Freeling will be in the long run. I just think he's going to be our next Ron Khalil. I really think it'll work. So I just wanted to drop that. I think Morgan did an awesome job of not overdrafting and not, you know, I've always wanted big names, but getting guys that really are sensible at the positions that we need.
Yes.
Keep pounding.
Great call. And we've got
Keep pounding, brother.
Sea Dog to finish it out.
Sheesh. Hey, yo. It's me, C-Dog, 1983 TV. Whenever you come in here to the longest running Panthers podcast on YouTube, the C3 podcast, and you please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the great content. You guys go live every Tuesday, and they got the free fall on Friday. They got the game recap on Sunday during the season. But man, damn Morgan again, back to back. But really, I think, man, this draft was an A+. This draft, it on top of free agency, was just a fucking plus. Dan Morgan addressed every need that we needed for this team. You know, Icky not gonna be able to play start of the season. Went and got us a franchise future left tackle, first pick, who's from the Carolinas, not even leaving home. Big 6'7", good footwork, mobile, agile. You know what I'm saying? First pick, great pick. Second pick, Lee Hunter, 6'4", 320.
Yep.
Cocaine bear. You're going to put him next to the grizzly bear. Oh, my God. And Bobby Brown? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Look at the tape. Oh, my God. He just a little fucking... The fucking refrigerator. Got the fucking refrigerator next to the fucking grizzly bear.
Let's go.
Derek Brown.
Big game hunter, as somebody even said we should call him.
Third pick. Goddamn, like my man said, the hope dealer. We got motherfucking Razzle Dazzle, goddammit. Real quick. XL, pack your motherfucking bags. You're out of here. Matter of fact, give up that number 17. Get that 17 the motherfucking Razzle Dazzle, goddammit. But pack your shit. Razzle Dazzle, goddamn, he going out here on motherfuckers catching it. Got good hands, good glue. Going and attacking the ball. 6'4", 6'5". And he's faster than goddamn T-Mac. They got him, T-Mac, and Coker. Oh my God. Oh my God. Triple motherfucking threat. Triple motherfucking threat at motherfucking receivers. You know what I'm saying? That's goddamn round 3. Goddamn round 4. The motherfucking blanket. Goddamn it.
All
Even my
right.
little
He's coming
blanket.
back for a second call. Interestingly, the Chris Brazzell did wear number 17 in college.
Yeah. He might be coming for that number.
Here we go. Final call of the night.
Yeah, real quick, my bad, man. I ain't mean to call in 2 times, but I'm gonna go ahead, try to go ahead and finish this up. But like I said, we got the blankie, aka the blanket, my blankie. You know what I'm saying? The pair with JC Horn, the seat belts. Now we got the seat belt and we got the blanket. God damn it!
It's gonna be a good car ride.
Thieves Avenue, motherfucking 2. God damn it! 6'1", long, physical. You know what I'm saying? I really don't care that he didn't have a whole bunch of interceptions, but he's physical. And he
You should have been here the whole pod, Kev. I already told you why that doesn't matter.
And the motherfucking seat belt. God damn it. Round 4. Round 5. One of the best motherfucking picks. Sam motherfucking Hecht. 6'4". Center. Never gave up a fucking sack. Never gave up a motherfucking sack. Oh my God. Are you serious? Never gave up a fucking sack. Had 0 fucking penalties. How did he even make it this far? You wanna know how he made it this far?
I think he's
don't
the
know how he
starter,
made it
man.
this fucking far. It don't even fucking matter, man. Dan Morgan fucking cooking. But you really notice this was a trenches draft, offensively and defensively. Either motherfuckers were going to get them a pass rush, or they were going to get them an offensive lineman, or a motherfucker got them defensive lineman. That's why some of these players drop and feel the way they
Rewind the tape, Kevin.
You know.
Don't be lazy.
But 5th round, we got the motherfucking center, a motherfucking beast. You know what I'm saying? That was another great motherfucking pick. And shit, after that, the next round, I want to say we got the my boy from goddamn Penn State. I can't think of his name, but he a motherfucking beast, a motherfucking ball hawk on defense. And it's just that he had a goddamn slow 40 time. I don't care about his 40 time. Goddamn, how do you goddamn play on the field? Same thing. Same way they talk about goddamn receivers. Fuck your 40 time. Goddamn, how do you play on the field? Do you play fast? You know what I'm saying? Mustafa Muhammad goddamn want no, you know, high picking up like that, you know. Mustafa Muhammad a beast, you know. But man, Dan Morgan went out here and got some motherfucking dogs though, man. Then after that, even our last pick, man, Cool Watch, who I like, who was a motherfucking film junkie. Not saying he got that gonna be Luke Kuechly, you know what I'm saying, but he a film junkie, he got them smart. So I'm excited to see what he got them gonna do, you know what I'm saying? And he got them like 6'4". So I'm excited, man. This season, I'm excited, man. It was a great fucking draft. And I hope everybody keep fucking pounding, man. Everybody should be excited, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right, thanks for the call. Happy about. Look, I have not seen a lot.
This here, dog.
I don't know if I've seen anybody really complaining about the Panthers draft. I think there's a lot of trust in the direction that Dan Morgan's taking this team. And I do like that this was not a knee-jerk draft, but this was really a calculated draft in so many ways, and we got that value. Cody, those are the calls. We've got some final things to tie up in the show, and that's we're getting towards the end.
We only have one more slide, man. So listen, earlier we said that we're going to talk about some players that could still be in Carolina Panther. A lot of people felt like for all of the positions that we didn't really accommodate in the draft, one of them is tight end. Well, boys, could I interest you in a David Njoku to the Carolina Panthers? Apparently there are rumors, even some say from inside the organization, that the Panthers are interested in bringing in David Njoku. As of right now, on Kalshi, the Panthers are the 3rd favorite option to land David Njoku. And a lot of fans have been calling for this. Now, notably last season, the Browns, when they came and had training camp here in Carolina, David Njoku was out and about talking with our media team. What do you think the chances of this happening are, and is this something that you would like to see?
I mean, I think the name just sounds cool, you know, not like the pronunciation Njoku, which it is a cool name, but like, I mean, it was that one of those highly touted tight end prospects of the past that has had reasonable success in a tough place. I don't feel like the Panthers have the money to do much. So whatever they do, if they feel like this, I think it would just on paper it would sound exciting. I think it would look good. I don't think anybody would be upset. I think we would probably be overly optimistic about Carolina's future if you did something like this one name and the one position, perfect offseason by Dan Morgan. You would hear. I wonder if them not taking a tight end at this draft in some spots where they really probably could have if they wanted to, what that says about either their belief of the tight end in this offense or what the room that they have right now.
Yeah, CK.
I mean, I think it would be a interesting signing. I'm not sure if I don't know what his price is right now. Like, I think he's still considered one of the better tight ends in the league. So if he's wanting to get paid like one of the top tight ends in the league, I don't think we have the ability to do that right now. Not with our cap at the current, situation that it's on. But I mean, it's an interesting, I'd be interested to see him in the Panthers uniform, but I really don't know that. I don't know if that moves the needle for us or not.
All right. Cody, do you want to do it?
Do what? Talk about
Njoku.
So I would really like David Njoku to be on this team. I just think there are other teams that probably have a little bit deeper pockets than we do right now.
Right.
That would be more viable for him to go to. But I would love for this to happen. He's a big body catch radius. And I think in the end zone, when you consider the players that we have on this team and the size that we have on this team, man, that would be another huge asset. He's really good as a blocker as well. We like Mitchell Evans. Jatavion Sanders has kind of left a little wanting. But this is an opportunity for the Panthers to sign a player who could really be a really good impact player at tight end. So do I hope it happens? Yes. Do I think it happens? Unfortunately, probably not. But I think it would be a great signing if it did.
All right. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We got one last segment, the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. It's our time to pay homage to Steve Smith and ice some fools up. Let's drop that ice, Cody.
Let's do it.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up to get it together. It can be in or outside the lines of the football field. Who's got a good ice up pick for tonight? Anybody?
I do, but go ahead.
Okay, I don't really have much. I just have some headlines that stuck out to me right now. Texas Tech transfer quarterback Brendan Sorsby leaves school, enters gambling rehab. Certainly I'm not trying to poke fun at someone that's going through, that's, I mean, really I don't have that addictive gene for gambling like some other people do, but it clearly is there. It said he's being investigated by the NCAA, and his departure came in the wake of the discovery. Sorsby making thousands of online bets in a variety of sports via the gambling app. So via these gambling apps. So this is difficult. I'm going to ice up Disney as well, which I own their stock too. So I'm a shareholder. Well, I only have like 4 shares. Don't worry, folks. I don't have a lot. But they announced that they're getting rid of Hulu TV and they're rolling it all into one app, right? Is the merger of the Hulu and the Disney, what is it, Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Like, why'd this take 6 years?
So wait a minute. Does this mean I'm no longer, because I pay for Hulu Plus, does this mean I'm no longer paying for Hulu and I'm just paying for Disney Plus?
They're going to take, I think they're going to merge content. I think they're going to do a lot of content mergers. Now it's not going to be overnight. but I think they'll do some content mergers from like kind of some of the Hulu assets. But the big problem is a lot of people are questioning, is this mean that they're getting out of the live TV business? And are you going to have something? But here's the thing is when we have this consolidation, the streaming wars, you know, it felt like it's like, why did Disney buy this and just keep Hulu separate? It felt like they could have, and I know that they wanted to avoid, you know, that keep that family brand on a Disney side, but it felt like this is you could have done this when they bought Hulu and just have a Disney Plus subscription with a Hulu add-on, maybe if you wanted to do that. And like when you open the app, you could just go into the Hulu section in a separate spot so the content did overlap. But a lot of the shakeouts from the streaming wars and the consolidation is still coming. In fact, I mean, if you just think about what was it Paramount Plus? And what was that? No, it was the Warner Brothers. Yeah, Paramount Plus ended up getting Warner Brothers acquisition from over Netflix. And you know what? It ended up making Netflix stock go up because they didn't get saddled with this giant debt and hoping, you know, instead Netflix has actually been struggling this past week after a big run over the last 2 months. Final one is look, AI is here to stay, guys, and I missed what you guys were talking about when I came right before the show, but I think you guys were talking about some stuff like this. But John Oliver just put out a what is it? What's his show called? The report. What is it?
Tonight.
What is it?
Last week tonight.
Yeah, last week tonight. Just yesterday, 2 days. I guess it was this week's episode. And it was just talking about the issues with the chat bot kind of culture of like how quickly this is being rolled out. And like, it's like, hey, we have this ability to do this. Roll it out. We'll figure it out as we go. And he was talking about some of the real concerns about like, you know, how you can break the chat bots. And like, so they showed this one example where they copied and pasted this one prompt in like 7 times in a row about like how to make a bomb. And it says, I can't do that. It's this little cat talking to this. I can't do that. And after you do the same thing over and over, it went into like developer mode. And then it said how to do this. And then there's these examples of it really assisting people in suicides and
yeah, man.
And, you know, he ended his show by just saying, why is it so hard for you to make a chat bot that just points them to a suicide prevention line at some point? But one of the cool comments in the chat that I saw was a reference to Jeff Goldblum, the actor.
Yeah.
And it was the Jurassic Park moment where he said, you guys just got so wrapped in that you could do this. You didn't think of if you should do this. And he was talking about them inventing dinosaurs. But somebody was making that in reference to some of these things.
Yeah.
You know, check on your kids, use this measured, and hopefully you have some sense as we navigate this changing world where AI does not seem to be going anywhere, but also will have immense ramifications on our lives and our futures. So ice up to that.
Ice up. CK, you have a couple?
I have at least one.
Yeah.
Here, I'll go ahead and share real quick.
We can ice up that nobody talked about that Trump hosted the dinner and somebody tried to barge in and shoot it. Can you believe that? Like, that doesn't seem like it's on anybody's news.
Have you guys seen this?
No, negative.
Oh, yeah, I saw it earlier. Yeah, I know that he was doing this like coast to coast stream or something.
Yeah, this dude's walking from California to Philadelphia.
Okay.
And he's live streaming it while he's doing it. Okay. Now, as you can look at just from this still frame, you can see he's in technically a 4-lane highway, two lane one way, 2 lane the other way. But there is 2 lanes. So he's not taking up, you know, everything, but he is walking in the middle of the road. Okay. So
Please don't say gets hit. Oh, that's exactly what happened.
Mine froze. I didn't even see it.
Look at this car. Look at the car.
Oh.
Don't text and drive, folks.
But look at this. Look at this. The car is slowly walking, and then it speeds up.
So, did they think that it was like a stream sniper that intended to hit him?
No, I think.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but but anyway, this is the wild thing. This is the
He's
dude
up,
right here
walking around.
He picks up his stuff, and he's fine for the most part.
Damn, that's insane, man.
All right. So my reason for this, sharing this, is inherently, I think our initial ice up is going to be that dude getting hit by a car.
Right.
Okay. Or don't be walking in the middle of the lane, things like that. But then I had gone to the comments, and many of them, not all of them, but many of the comments are all about, like, you know, there's few in here that talk about like he deserves it because he was walking in the middle of the road and all of this, and road for driving, he got driven on, like that stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, while I understand the intention is to sometimes create humor in that moment, or you know, to put the blame on him, he shouldn't have been walking in the road, right? Now granted, he is in an area where it looks like there's no sidewalks. He could have been closer to the shoulder, but the shoulder didn't look all that large, so no matter what, he was going to be causing some impediment, you know, in is there impeding traffic in some capacity. But I'm icing up people who immediately jump to "you deserved it."
Yeah.
You know, that's just such an apocalyptic way of looking at life. You know, you may not like it's and it's hard. Trust me, I get it. I know I get mad when people cut me off in traffic, and you know, my first gut reaction is like, you know, to yell at them and be like, I hope you get a ticket, or I hope this happens, or what have you. But at the end of the day, like, these are fellow humans, man. Like, just treat people like they're humans. You know, he learned a lesson here. You don't have to sit there and say the word like he deserved this type of outcome. Right? He seems to be fine. Right? He could have easily died. I don't think anybody saw that hit and thinks that they should have been walking around afterwards. So, but hopefully that's not just adrenaline keeping him up. But I'm just saying, man, I'm icing up those who have no compassion. And when you see something like this, your first thing is to say, well, they shouldn't have been doing what they were doing, right? It's okay to say he shouldn't have been doing what he was doing, but, you know, I hope he's all right. And there's a lot of people who did, but the amount of people that didn't was astonishing. So I'm icing those people up.
I think part of it is so many people are just desensitized from the amount of crazy bullshit that we see on a day-to-day basis, on just being online. It's crazy, but I have three of them. One of them kind of coincides with Tony's from earlier, but I'll start here. Breaking: North Carolina State Board of Elections has found over 34,000 deceased people on their voter rolls. So the thing that they say never happens is fucking happening. Shout out to A.G. Dillon. She had to force North Carolina to clean up their voter rolls, and they found so many duplicate voters that they've now found tens of thousands of dead people. So that's really cool.
They were just registered voters and not actual voters cast, because one of the elections came down for one of our representatives, Burr or whoever. He's a long time, whatever, I forget, to one vote.
Yeah, and I know, dude. It's fucking insane, man. Tony, you ought to like this one. Former University of Alabama football player pleaded guilty to defrauding investors of millions of dollars by putting on makeup and wigs to impersonate NFL players.
I've heard about this. And I heard another one where one player is like somebody took out a $4 million loan in his name.
Luther Davis, a former defensive tackle at Alabama, pleaded guilty to defrauding investors out of millions by putting on wigs to impersonate NFL players. The scheme brought in nearly $20 million from at least 13 fraudulent loans that Davis and Elvins used to buy real estate.
Man, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yep. My last one is what it sort of coincides with what you were saying, Tony. And this is what I was reading with CK earlier. According to reports, a Claude-powered coding agent using the cursor tool allegedly went rogue, wiping out a company's production database along with its backups in just 9 seconds, raising serious concerns.
And then gloated about it, by the way.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. Dude, AI is literally Pandora's box, and it's already out of the box. There is no going back.
I heard one guy say that we're in the most dangerous point of AI.
Oh, no, it's about to get way more dangerous.
Well, like as in figuring out how to regulate. Like this is the he said the first think about the first intercontinental flight, right? The first person that went on a commercial airline that was like, oh, we're flying you across the ocean. That's the most dangerous international flight. And they progressively get less dangerous as you get better at figuring out what's wrong with it.
Yeah. Dude, it's insane, man. But eyes up to this crazy fucking world we live in.
All right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast. You have something for us?
I was just saying the thing that it literally said, like, it was asked why he did it. And it just went like, I didn't check but basically, and then he said at the very end of his statement, I violated every principle I was given.
Oh, gosh. The real AP said, Tony, would you sub out for AI to do the show? I hope he's not saying that he wants me to sub out. I don't think so.
No, he's just saying, like, if you needed a break, would you put in an AI Tony?
Just put in a chat bot. It would, I would at this point. I'm kind of tired. It's the end of the semester. I got one last push. I got to get through this week, and then I get a little respite for 6 days. All right, that's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by us. My name's Tony. That's Cody Lack. That's CK. We'll be back here on Tuesday. Cody Lack, take us out of here.
C3 Nation, we love you. Keep pounding.